Welcome to the LDN Radio Show, brought to you by the LDN Research Trust. I'm your host, Linda Elsiegood. I have an exciting lineup of guest speakers who are LDN experts in their field. We will be discussing low-dose naltrexone and its many uses in autoimmune diseases, cancers, etc. Thank you for joining us. I'd like to welcome back our guest today, Dr. Armin Schwarzbach from ArminLabs. Thank you for joining us, Armin.
Thank you, Linda. Coming back after crisis, Armin, with you together.
Okay, so I think you have some exciting news to share with us.
Yes, absolutely. We have a lot of development now in the world. This catastrophe with this SARS-CoV-2 virus showed us exactly the way we were already moving forward. So we came from Lyme disease, and we thought everything is Lyme disease, which makes fatigue or multiple sclerosis or other issues like rheumatoid arthritis, fibromyalgia, or whatever you name it, these conditions. But we found over the years that it's not all Lyme disease. Where I came from 20 years ago, 25 years ago, then we learned about these co-infections, which are in the ticks. So I came from the tick-borne illnesses, where I was educated and very interested in. The co-infections also brought us into, I name it always, a one-way street. So with a dead end. So we didn't come really forward with all of this antibiotics long-term, whatever. And what we found shortly before COVID, I think it was 3-4 years before that started, we found a lot of patients with gut viruses, so-called enteroviruses, internationally, which mimic the so-called Lyme or co-infections, surprisingly. Especially we found before Corona came in 2020, we found already a lot of these enteroviruses. One of these is Coxsackie virus, the other is the echovirus. They are very, very neurotropic. They make mitochondriopathies. They make leaky gut. They make all conditions in the body like Lyme disease. So the symptoms cannot tell you which infection it is. That's clear. So then we found a lot of EBV infections in the patients with Lyme disease, but they didn't suffer from Lyme disease any longer. Maybe they had it, I cannot tell you, but still getting antibiotics, and or trying some other remedies like disulfiram, which was not helpful. Over this, we had also good experience with LDN at that time already. I remember the first years I came to LDN group in Vegas. It was, I think, 12 years ago or so. So we had already good experiences with this LDN, but not with the antibiotics that time. And then the story moved onwards. And as you know, I'm very interested in all infections. And I came always to the story with the gut immunity. So the gut is for me so important for our immune system. It's the antibiotics destroy the good and healthy bacteria in the gut, but they do provocation of this inflammation and reactivation of these gut viruses. Gut viruses are also other viruses. It's not just Coxsackie and echovirus. It could be also cytomegalovirus, CMV, or EBV, the Epstein-Barr virus. I will talk a little later on that, because this is phenomenal situation now, what we see and what we can do, how we can treat, also with LDN. So we had this ongoing gut situation with the antibiotics. We destroyed the gut. Some patients get a little better, but not all. Some get better. So how it was over the decades of years. And then we came to this virus. And then the big virus came. Okay, it was a horrible story, but I was confirmed with this. And I said, okay, now we are absolutely my field. What does a virus mean? A virus mean it's an infection. A virus is coming. What does a virus do always? It makes an inflammation. So I came to there's a professor in Ireland, Jack Lambert, he's named, he did a model before crisis with the two I's, it's named infection plus inflammation. And I said, yes, I think he's correct. But I added the third one. I said in all of my presentations, 2020, 2021, we have an immune system. So all of these pathogens, whatever it is, parasites, yeast, mold, Borrelia, Lyme disease, whatever, you name it, SARS-CoV-2, they are meeting our individual immune system. And the immune system is really horrible in us, okay? Because we have a lot of infections in us without knowing about them. As an example, you have this herpes simplex virus on the lips. You say, okay, it's coming, going, immune triggered. We know that immune system, immune dysfunction. But this is the third I, to name it, three I's: infection, inflammation, and immune dysfunction. So these three I's belong absolutely together in all of these infections. Every infection is doing the same. It's not just Lyme disease. And as the herpes simplex virus, the problem is this is a neurotropic virus, and it's in the deeper tissue, in the ganglion. So it inflames our nerve system. It's associated, as an example, with multiple sclerosis, with Parkinson's, with carditis, heart problems, arthritis. So you could say that's Lyme disease, but it's not Lyme disease from the symptoms of the patients. The same is with this parvovirus B19, or as another example, the Epstein-Barr virus. And then came, it was pretty clear that the patients, they were suffering and they died from COVID-19. So horrible stories, but most of them had really a bad immune system, not all of them. A virus can be very aggressive. We name it virulence. These are different factors. So it can kill you immediately, like Ebola or Hantan virus, 50% death cases. Always inflammation, coagulopathies, you get strokes, you get thrombosis, you die by that. And this was the story where we came also to say, okay, this model is fitting to opportunistic viruses. Why should we not develop a co-infections, sorry, not co-infections, that was the Lyme story. It was post or long COVID checklist. And I put all of my brain, my memory, all of my thoughts, all of evidence-based literature into that symptom checklist for long COVID patients. We started really early, I would say 2021. And this checklist, this hits the nail on its head. So it's really clear, pretty clear, that by some patients get fatigue or myalgic encephalomyelitis or neuropathies or other conditions from this opportunism, which is reactivated. Normally, as you know, we control herpes simplex virus, we control the Epstein-Barr virus, we control the cytomegalovirus, we control HHV6, which is also a chronic, a very hard virus, neurotropic, chronic fatigue, myalgic encephalomyelitis, and all of these stories again. So mitochondriopathies and whatever gut viruses, they can be everywhere. Why can they be everywhere? Just to mention that they are using the macrophages in a passive transport mechanism. They can infiltrate into your brain, inflame it into your heart, everywhere. We see it. So the viruses can be everywhere. It's not just the viruses. Also the chlamydia, mycoplasma, which are bacteria, belong also to this complexity of, I name it, chronic multiple infections. So in everybody we see nowadays with long COVID, this one part of my main work now, to how to diagnose them, we find the viruses. We find maybe some parasites. We find yeast and mold. We find also maybe some Lyme disease. We find also, but the question is, was Lyme disease before, or is it now getting worse? All of this, what we can say, all of these infections depend on our immune system, on the strength of our immune system. And what about the Th1, Th2 shifts? You know, this is really important because we know nowadays that patients switch to the Th2 dominant dominance, and that means they develop autoimmune disorders by Th17 pathways, and also they can develop cancer, which is also a tragedy. From this, so to booster. Now I come to the. I know that some are not like these words, but we have also post-vac patients after vaccination. They got a boosters very sick because I think they were over-boosted, simply over-boosted. Too many antibodies, too many immune stress by these vaccinations. Why should you vaccinate and booster, and over-boost a patient? It really doesn't make sense, So we came more to the model, also Th1, Th2 balances, anti-inflammatory therapies, LDN to use it consequently in this patient group. It's really not just to do promotion for this remedy. It's for me much better and no risk to use it in this group of long COVID patients and post-vac syndrome patients. So we know that this coagulopathies, where the blood is getting thicker, these patients have cold hands, cold fingers, they have oxygen deficiency. So also some oxygen therapies or ozone therapies could help. Additionally, immune support helps these patients. A healthy nutrition for the gut, basic, and all of this. It's a long story. What is now behind that, and what should we do now with this patient by our therapies? I'm now convinced also to say that for that chapter that we need really also to diagnose a little the immune dysfunction. So we are doing now a lot of CD3 cells for the cellular immune system, CD57, CD56, and natural killer cells. We do now CD19 for the humoral immune system. We do immune globulins. So we need to check, is there any immune deficiency? So many patients we see, they have immune deficiencies without knowing. The doctors are not checking. They are no immunologist. And we learned again by this tragedy with SARS-CoV-2, we learned that this virus met immune systems, individual immune systems. And what I really hate to say it this way, not I say because maybe sometimes it could help in some indications, are the corticosteroids, this immune destruction. What we are doing, the doctors, they try to work anti-inflammatory with the corticosteroids, but on the other side, they destroy the cellular immune system. We see that. And then the whole cocktail of viruses and maybe parasites and bacteria, chlamydia, mycoplasma, Yersinia in the gut, campylobacter, they're all reactivated individually. And then we have the problem, it's like an explosion in your body. More Th2 production, maybe more Th1 cellular tests. We are doing this so-called iSpot. iSpot was a new development for Lyme patients and also all other infections to find out, is it more past infection? Do we need treatment by interleukin 2? We are doing this cellular test a lot around the world. iSpot, it's named, not the ELISpot, the iSpot. That was also very innovation, also in SARS-CoV-2. Why the people wanted this test? Because they said, yes, I don't want to get vaccinated. I have a cross-reactivity with other coronaviruses, or I had already corona without showing antibodies. Not everybody shows antibodies, okay? Some shows just the cellular immune response, not the antibodies. That's also different. How is your balance? How are you strong in Th1, Th2 production? But what the doctors are doing, they destroy our immune system. They use methotrexate and all of this stuff. They block cytokines. Okay, maybe it could help a little, but this is not a concept to me. This is a helpless situation with a lot of side effects of this immune suppression and this opportunistic infections blowing up. And then it's like an explosion in your body and the patient getting worse. And in this situation, if you are using antibiotics, if you say, oh, I have Lyme disease now, or I have a bacterial infection, be really careful, because you will definitively end in this one-way street and you have a dead end. And then you will get worse. You destroy the gut. 70-80% of the natural immunity we know now is our gut. So we need to support the gut, not to use these chemotherapies with these antibiotics. I'm not completely against antibiotics, but to say this hardliner therapy, I'm not so so the friend of this any longer. I would say, please support the immune system. Don't destroy your gut. Do a healthy nutrition. Don't use the antibiotics. Maybe use probiotics, prebiotics. Do something against the inflammation in your gut. Do a really good, a healthy lifestyle for your gut. Be careful with your gut. You need your gut. And in this gut, there are the enteroviruses. We're coming back again. So you have colitis, you have the leaky gut, you have the histamine intolerances. We all see that. And if we treat on the right way, and then the virus is coming out from the mucosa, they are all mucosal, they are flowing up from the mucosa. Then you get this herb angina, which are blisters in the mouth sometimes with these viruses. So this is really a huge complexity, and we need good and educated doctors. The doctors, most of them, they don't know, they cannot do that job. It's really a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge behind that. We try to train. So that was, I think, the complexity. Maybe to finalize a little what we are on the way now to diagnose 3Is. We diagnose infections. We have developed this long COVID checklist. We have developed a parasite checklist. That was also a chapter because we saw so many parasites with the dogs and the cats. So Toxocara canis, as an example, it's so worldwide #1. The toxoplasmosis. So many pathogens in us. So the vets, they treat the dogs also, but the humans are not treated with these parasites. And we know what we eat up, and the Taenia and all of this Ascaris. We have now perfect tests for Ascariasis. So we have a parasitologist in our laboratory now also. He's very, very good in this field, and we try not to do it from stool analysis. We try everything from blood. That makes a difference now. And the next challenge for us, which I'm really proud about that in the laboratory development, we have now this mycotoxin profile, which is a really, really good test. We can detect the main mycotoxins, and as an example, we can detect the aflatoxin B1, the deoxynivalenol, the fumonisin, and ochratoxin A from the blood. This is an antigen test because the urine has always the problem of this creatinine changes and the standardization of this volume you're taking. It could be good to do 24-hour sampling to standardize this urine for these mycotoxins, but it's inadequate from a laboratory perspective. We don't like the urine so pretty much because of this problem of standardization. And this is really a published new test from Finland. It came CE certified, IVD registered. It's really good, the mycotoxins, because we see so many mycotoxins in the carpets in as an example in Seattle or in British Columbia. So many people have mycotoxins. Probably it's the rain and all the environment. The mycotoxin profile from blood, it's a good test. It's a standardized test, certified, and so we are working on that. And I think it's much better than this urine test they are doing. The next great challenge for us was to get the American accreditation. I think we are the only laboratory in Europe for tick-borne diseases specialization, which has the CAP, the Clinical American Pathologist accreditation, which is similar to FDA or let's say Quest and LabCorp, the standards of the really qualified labs. It's not it's not in-house tests. In European Union, in 2 years, we will have problems with in-house tests, which are not certified, not accredited. We will get massive problems, and you are not allowed to do that inside European Union. So a lot of these tests will vanish. Just to mention the Rantes as an example, the chymokine or some also of the antibody tests for Borrelia, for the Switzerland variation. The Euroimmun took it from the market. They say it's too expensive to do this accreditation for European Union. That will be a challenge, but I think it's good on the one hand that we have this better standardization of this test, that not just one laboratory can do one test, so that we can compare within different laboratories laboratories our results from different patients. Why? Because the quality is then higher than if you do an in-house or homebrew test. Nobody can control you. You can say, oh, I make every result positive. Who controls you? It's validated. Yes, you can validate how you like it in a not CAP accredited laboratory. So that was our aim, to get the highest accreditation standard. Not so many Lyme labs in America have that also. I talked with one of different of them. Also, they don't have it because it's really a hard challenge to get all tests certified, accredited, and CAP registered. The clear what they promote, it's included. So this is just allowance. This is nothing special. You can do in-house tests with a clear. A lot of laboratories selling that. This is not the way I want to go. My laboratory wants to fulfill highest quality standards, let me say so. And if you have a good laboratory and you trust results, please use a CAP accredited laboratory in America as an example, or in Germany, DAKKS. In England, it's the UCAS accredited laboratory, and not CLIA certified laboratories with not the CAP. Why? Because if the results are wrong, you do wrong therapies, and you are the therapist, you're responsible for that. And therefore, the European Union will cancel these tests because the patient maybe is damaged, wrong therapy, wrong result. This is not the way we should go. Use laboratories with this highest accreditation in the future. Message to all of you. It's a lot of business behind the labs, I know that, with this in-house test, the CLIA named labs. Nothing against CLIA. CLIA, you need CLIA to do some tests, but CAP is the key for the future in USA. In European Union, it will be a special body for that, like you control the cars, or also the teeth implants needs this control because if you have the wrong material for it, you do the implant, you damage the patient. So we need better quality also laboratories. I think there was a lot of too much business in that of many laboratories. So there's the way we are going. I don't want to say we are the best laboratory, but we are, let me say, I'm really proud. I think we are the highest accredited laboratory for tick-borne diseases in the world now. So there's nothing in Europe comparable. In USA, I think one or two maximum, that's it. So we have really the highest standard. Nobody can attack us. So that's good to show here. It's accredited. The professors were in the laboratory. They all checked our data. We compare them always, vitamin D levels or whatever you want or so. So this is also Toxiplex. So we are going now that way. Yeah, and maybe to finish it, coming back to the patient, the LDN is, to me, I recommended it really very, very often. I don't prescribe that because I have so many laboratory work with my personal. I have 30, 40 employees now. So it's enough work. But the LDN, low-dose naltrexone, I'm fascinated. It's riskless, and you can try it out without any risk. Other therapy options are more riskful. So I don't know the role with these mycotoxins, with LDN, with our test results. Maybe I need also some experience there and maybe some data. But what we need all to you attendees, we need data. We need simply publish. It's not enough to say my experience it is, or I show some data from my clinic. That's not enough.
I'm going to have to stop you there, Armin. We've run out of time.
Okay, thank you.
But your website is www.arminlabs.com. So I'm sure that there is a lot of information there that people can find out about you and your testing and how to go about it. We have people from different countries, and you mentioned different countries there. Which countries can send you samples?
All countries where the corruption is not such a huge problem. We have huge problems, as nothing against Brazil or Argentina, but it's nearly impossible. Also Mexico, there are huge issues. India is a problem, as an example. So everywhere around the world, New Zealand, Australia, whole Europe, okay. Also, we get now some samples from Ukraine. Also Sweden, no problem. Iceland, you can send from all over Canada, USA. We have a fast courier service, FedEx, whatever, 2-3 days. We all get the samples here in, have them in 2 days, 3 days finished. So you can send from everywhere in the world, but not from these countries where we don't come in and don't come out with just bakshish is important to come in and let out the samples. So that's not possible, sorry.
Okay.
But we have a list and we can give you the information.
Well, thank you very much for having joined us today.
Thank you very much, Linda. I wish
you.
all great success with LDN. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Any questions or comments you may have, please email me, Linda, Linda, at ldnrt.org. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you for joining us today. We really appreciated your company. Until next time, stay safe and keep well.